let's talk non-oil exports coming out of Nigeria. The NEPC, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, is the front page of today's This Day newspaper, Nigeria's newspaper record. Right there at the top of the masthead, Nigeria's non-oil exports rising 19.5% to $3.2 billion in the first half of 2025. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu joins us to dip in. There it is. And he talks about who better than him to talk about exports and what needs to be done to boost this figure. You're welcome, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good to see you today.
Fine, thank you. Good to see
you.
A
new week.
Kick off the week. Look, you talk about exports all the time. What do you make of this development here?
This is a very important topic for me and for the nation because we talked about it several times. Now, you need to go back to pre-1956.
Yeah.
When oil was discovered in Nigeria at the Olobiri, I hope I pronounced it right. And so before then, Nigerian economy was driven by the cash crops, the cocoa in the west, palm oil in the east, and then the cotton in the north.
Yeah.
And then once oil came, Nigeria had what they call the resource cost.
Yeah.
Resource cost. And then some people call it also the Dutch disease. And basically what happens then is that the petroleum products, just one barrel, $80, just pumping from the ground that, the countries immediately run away from the things hitherto that have been giving them revenues and foreign exchange. For Nigeria, in that case, Nigeria abandoned cocoa, abandoned cotton, abandoned palm oil, and it actually became not exporter to this. But be that as it may, oil is not supposed to be a cause. Because what happens for decent countries, I use that word loosely, is the fact that they get that oil proceeds and easy to diversify the revenues or the revenue base of the country.
Yeah.
And so you find other countries like, they tell you that Dubai is grow, oil grew it, Saudi Arabia, oil grew it, but if you go to these economies, you find that the consumption of oil now has substantially reduced because of the amount of resources here. But for Nigeria, oil has been really a cost.
Right.
And despite, as I say in this program every time, that our problem is not planning. Because if you take all the development plans in Nigeria, from that 1960 to the date, roaches, you will find that one of the major line there will be to diversify the Nigerian revenue base away from oil.
Right.
But the issue is we're not done very well in that. Because as late as 2023, 8% of the revenues
was from
oil. Crude oil and oil-based products.
Yeah.
And so, despite all the efforts, all the things you hear about, non-oil export push, NEPC, these things, you find that the contribution to non-oil exports, to our export earnings, is still very, paltry.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's a massive problem. Now, but of course, I must put it out there, as we do in this program, that when there's an improvement, we will note it.
Yeah.
In 2024, even though the base has been weak, we've noticed some, upping, in the non-oil export revenues.
Yeah.
And that's what led to this report that you have seen now about the 20% increase between 2023 and 2024 half year, and then this 2025. So somebody would therefore ask, like I've said several times in this program, that we have got so many God-given gifts here, and why are we suffering?
Right.
And so everything boils down to not policy,
execution.
But the execution of the policies that we have.
You say it a lot.
Because if I go through with you in a roaches now and I say, what are the issues? What are the limiting factors?
Yeah.
The products are there. This information there that this report we had for the first half of the year was driven by about 41% by cocoa, fertilizer, some base chemicals, and some other manufactured goods. Those are things that have contributed to this growth.
Yeah.
Why have we, as a country, not been able to push all this?
Yeah.
So the first thing I have there wrote is trade facilitation and the ports. I thought about it already several times in this program.
Yeah, you have
multiple long dwell times, multiple tables in the ports for screening a lot of things. Now, let me throw out again the solution for me immediately. Solution, of course, is end-to-end digitalization of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Again, I say I praise a country where it happens. I came in from outside the country on particular airline yesterday, and I was then waiting for the normal torture. You know, when you arrive in Nigeria, the first thing is that they take a passport to DSS to go and see whether you should enter this country. Then after that, they take it to the immigration people to go and again check whether whether you should enter your country. And so on and so forth. So I was ready to prime myself for that. And then somebody just said, "Please follow me." And then I went to one booth and said, "Swipe your passport." Notice within 30 seconds I was inside Nigeria.
You were just like that.
Inside Nigeria. And that thing can happen to our ports.
Great example.
Can you imagine that happening in our ports? The manual processes, multi-agency issues. Multi-agency, look at now. I didn't see DSS now. I didn't see immigration.
All these things.
One step took out the whole thing. Within 30 seconds of arrival, I was inside Nigeria. I mean, I was already budgeted. You know how you call your driver and say,
I'll be between 1 hour.
1 hour.
Right.
I had to take a car hire to go back. So we can have things like that. Power and input costs. You mentioned that. The unreliable grid, you know what the problem there. High generation costs. This add to the landed cost of our products. Finance costs again and FX volatility. Local naira costs are very expensive for exporters. So that's another major issue that anybody who wants to push export should look into. Standards, quality. We see a lot of rejection, for a lot of our products. The other issue, therefore, will be, can we have shared labs, managed by the government for revenues and stuff like that, so that people can test their products before they ship them. The other one I mentioned there had to do with the port, has to do with when you have the ports now. You remember we talked about the export-based terminals. Where, remember Nigerian imports are more than our exports. So if you carry the exports to where the imports come from, Nigerians the exports are normally swallowed. And they will not give due preference. So let's have export-based terminals where things go, like this automation I talked about will happen. And exporters will have a free rent for their distance. The other one very important is policy, go, stop, go. The export expansion grant in Nigeria has been a major issue. It was set up to encourage exporters, support them in the expansion programs, export programs. But what's happened is riddled with bureaucracy and so many things. Sometimes the policy is this way, the next time you go, the policy is another way. So that's another problem. Another thing we have is market access. ECOWAS region, we have a framework for that. Remember the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement? So let's have a structure for that. So the market is there for us. We are celebrating many trickles of success. But you see, the issue again, you look at the big picture. The needle is not moving on the contribution of non exports to the total exports of Nigeria. I believe that if you look at the critical factors, things will, and these are very actionable things that any government that is very serious can implement. And so the NEPC, the Export Promotion Council, should actually lead some of these initiatives and make sure that exporters are supported in making sure that products move out from Nigeria.
Fantastic breakdown, Chika. Let me just squeeze one more question out of you. And I know you touched on electricity, but just we have a quote from the CEO of the NEPC, and she was talking about semi-processed goods, right? So I just want to get your thoughts on us being able to generate enough power to where we can contribute and make these process good. Okay, here's let me just quickly read the quote. I know we flashed it on for our viewers earlier. Okay, she says that it is pertinent to state here that the non-oil export of Nigerian products is gradually diversifying from traditional agricultural exports to semi-processed manufactured products. So what's your thoughts on boosting that, those semi-processed manufacturing?
There's this saying, I don't have the right figures now, but they say that the West takes the cocoa maybe for $1, and it enters Switzerland, and it comes back at chocolate $100.
Exactly.
Because of the value added. So as we move up in the agro value chain, the value of the export gets better. And what do you need to move up in the process? Instead of just exporting cash cocoa raw, cotton raw, palm oil raw, is what power. Power is the number one thing. How do the equipments work? How do you have 24-hour production? Even the ports working is power. So that's very critical. If you have to move on the value chain, and when you're exporting just the raw products, as I said, the cocoa is for $1. But when it comes in as chocolate, it comes in at $100.
Yeah.
So the higher you move up in the value chain, the more value they come to get in export. And the only way we can do that is what? Having the electricity, having power, yes.
All right, business analyst Chika Mbonu. Chika, aviation. I don't know when sometime this week.
We will do that.
All the madness in the aviation.
We will do that. We will do that.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.